So, back once more, I guess. Today we are taking a look at the Final Night series. This one's another highly requested one by you lot, I guess. Now, you may remember this one a while back. Lots of YouTubers played mainly the third and fourth game in this series. It is brought to us by Jelly Liam, who may seem pretty familiar to some of you guys because he is the developer of Aftonbuilt, the unfortunately cancelled Fanverse game. And as of this recording, I guess I'm the first person to cover the series that basically got him there in the first place, being, the Final Night's Quadrilogy. I have really nothing else to say for this intro section, so let's waste no time and get into the first game in the series. Alright, so the first Final Nights game has a little bit of history behind it. See, most people nowadays haven't played it. That's actually because it was removed from GameJot years ago. Simply because it never really met up to Jelly Liam's standards at that time. So it was removed for a while. Until now, you can play it. And after playing it myself, yeah, I can definitely tell why he removed it initially. So, this game is incredibly short. Now, I know FNAF fan games in general are typically up to an hour in length, but this one only lasts 15 minutes. There isn't even nights, it's literally just a night. Our main character just walks in and realizes someone is in the house with him, and then the game begins. So the actual gameplay itself is based around FNAF 4, which isn't very good, because FNAF 4 sucks. You just shine the light in the puppet's face, and yes, the antagonist is the puppet. All you need to do is look to the left, right behind you and turn off the TV when his face is on the screen. So, that's pretty much it. But there is a second part of this. You see, I thought after I beat it, I thought it was just gonna end. So, the game suddenly switches up and now is a half free roam game now. There's a puzzle and you need to avoid Fredbear and Spring Bonnie. Spring Bonnie is more like a weeping angel, and then Fredbear will appear from the ceiling and then run away, I guess. Then the place burns down and our main character is killed by Fredbear before he can exit. Honestly, pretty much this entire game is just FNAF 4 Living Room Edition. I don't think anyone will be surprised in knowing that I think the first game sucks. I mean, I'm just saying there was a reason for this game being removed back then, and like I said earlier as well, the game is quite literally just FNAF 4, and that's pretty much it, other than the free roam section, which I already found to be pretty underwhelming. Well, that's one down and only 3 more to go. Let's see if the series can pick itself up with Final Nights 2. So Final Nights 2 starts where the previous left off, with Fredbear's burning to the ground, and someone finds the remains of Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, all charred. Then we do a time skip, and I'm assuming we're William because of the evil laugh at the very beginning, and now we get to choose between the Fredbear or Spring Bonnie suit. I'm guessing that this has something to do with the overarching story of the series, but you know me, I don't give two shits, so I'm picking Fredbear. And then the actual game begins. So our protagonist has taken the burnt characters home for repairs, and now they're attempting to kill us, so we need to defend ourselves. Foxy will appear in the hallway behind you, and when he appears, you'll need to flash him to see where he is. Once you hear breathing, you need to walk to the door and wait for him to leave. Don't shine the light, because he will kill you. Freddy will crawl through the vent, and you need to shut the vent on your left. Or, well, I guess in this case it's the right one? The left vent. Just shut the left vent to prevent it from killing you. The puppet also returns, and is now in a small cabinet that you need to check frequently to prevent dying to him. That pretty much wraps up both Nights 1 and 2, actually. Because, yeah, that's it. We get some more cutscene stuff after Night 1. For some reason, Night 2 didn't give us anything. Just sends us to Night 3, where Bonnie is introduced, and he goes through the other vent, and apparently you need goddamn frame-perfect timing to stop him. Yeah, I don't know why they did that, but you need some, absolute, Sonic Unleashed level reaction-based timing to figure that shit out. What is this? Eggman Land. Night 3 blows over and we have some more story stuff with us. luring some kids to the back room, and then Night 4 introduces Chica into the mix. Now, she joins Foxy in the hallway, and you can't shine your light at her this time, but when you go to the door, you need to use your light. So basically, it's just Foxy, but reversed, really. And that's pretty much the gameplay of Final Night 2. Night 5 introduces Fredbear and Spring Bonnie in some, like, boss fight. They go down like the other characters, really, so it isn't too jarring for the actual gameplay. Honestly, the actual gameplay itself, it really just feels like FNAF 4 again. Sure, there are cameras, but honestly, they're pretty much useless. Vent cams are the only ones you'll ever need, and it isn't until Night 4 where you actually need to sort of use the cameras so you know who's in the hallway behind you. The story ends with our main character waking up in this bed, and this is the bad ending, because I think I chose Fredbear for that costume, and that's pretty much it. I didn't want to play through the game again to get the other ending, or the good ending, whichever one it is. So I looked it up online, and it's pretty much just the FNAF 3 minigames, just told in 3D, I guess. So yeah, there's not really a whole lot new to it. It's just the FNAF 3 stuff. You know, William dies in the Spring Bonnie suit, and that's about it. Final Nights 2, while being better than the first, but to be honest, that's not really much of an achievement. It once again just plays like FNAF 4, and that's really about it. The cameras themselves aren't really that useful at all, and only the 2 vent cams will pretty much be the ones you use throughout the entire game. Well, at least until Chica's added, the security cams just, yeah, they were added as a participation trophy. That's about it. Well, halfway through now, so let's see what Final Nights 3, the one that everyone played, at least on YouTube anyway, like 6 years ago, has in store for us. Final Nights 3 takes place in a hospital, and we play as, I assume, the crying child from FNAF 4, and, well, the game starts with a tutorial, and, yeah, it plays like FNAF 4, alright. But instead of surviving until 6, you cannot progress until you have slept until 6. So basically just FNAF 4, but with an extra step. The Reaper animatronics are like the Nightmare animatronics in a sense, but instead of being designed by some 14-year-old white girl who romanticizes about Michael Myers on Tumblr, they're designed by a talented modeler. I kinda like the designs of these guys. They look kinda cool. Like, really demented. They don't really, you know, saturate on the whole sharp teeth and claws like it's a goddamn creepypasta character. Instead, just sort of distort their faces, kind of like just any average analog horror, nowadays anyway. I like both the Puppet and BB, they look kind of cool, but the other ones just go, I don't like them that much. Back to that FNAF 4 design, of course, that I already said I'm not too fond of. Anyway, so to deal with these guys, you need to shut the curtains for the Puppet, so basically ignited Freddy. BB, you have to shut the cabinet door on him. Reaper Spring Bonnie will get closer and you need to shut the door to keep him away. Once you have slept long enough and you beat the night. Pretty simple. So there's a plush trap-like minigame with a Reaper version of Chica, and like the plush trap minigame, you'll need to flash her, and she'll use her cupcake as a distraction. Failing obviously results in a jump scare. Nights 3 and 4 introduce 2 new characters, being Mangle and Golden Freddy. Mangle will call through a vent in the ceiling and you need to turn the heating on to prevent her from attacking you. Golden Freddy will be at the opposite end of the hallway from Spring Bonnie and he'll appear in the window. If he is at the window, then you need to flash him. If he isn't, then he's just baiting you to check on him, which will end with your death. Interesting mechanic, honestly. A baiting mechanic. Cool. Night 5, just like the last game, has these shadowy characters, which is like, by the way, this whole story is like some alternate universe version of FNAF, so this whole ordeal revolves around the Afton family. These shadow characters represent Springlock victims, and it has something to do with a lot of the story bits in this game, which I already said, don't care about. Apparently, there's a Chica Springlock suit. I'm guessing it's that one from Sister Location. And by the way, yeah, that's not Chica. That definitely isn't a Springlock Chica suit. It's obviously you have different endings, and this time it's more like FNAF 3, where you need to do it in a specific way to get a specific ending. Which actually, you know, now I think about it, it's just exactly the same as the second one, but it's a lot easier, I guess. Well, the third game didn't really draw me in that much, like the previous two. It just feels like FNAF 4 again. The designs of the characters look really cool, mainly the Puppet and BB. I like them. I like the designs quite a bit. Not the other ones though. I do feel they just kind of, like I said, just fall under that classic FNAF 4 design trope that I'm just not that fond of. But yeah, there's not really a whole lot else that's really worth talking about the game, so I'm gonna leave it there, and let's finally move on to the last game for today, being Final Nights 4. Alright, so compared to all of the other ones so far, this is easily my favorite. Probably because it actually plays like a FNAF game, so for any time that we're not on the night shift, we play as Max, a paranormal investigator, and is currently losing his hair over the mysteries about Freddy's. Sounds like someone I know.
I just simultaneously whipped and nay-nayed!
In these sections, they're more point-and-click styled adventures. I like this style, it's a nice change of pace. You typically have to solve a puzzle or something in order to advance. We explore this abandoned location and find this puppet character after turning off this leak. We then have to do some fairly basic minigame with him, where we need to flash the puppet on the left and ignore this one on the right. Completing it will start the FNAF-centric gameplay, and hallelujah, it's not FNAF 4. Yes! It took, 4 whole ass games, but the wait was worth it, I guess. So we finally have cameras now, and they're actually pretty useful. Night 1 will introduce us to Fredbear and Spring Bonnie, or Piss Bear and Piss Bonnie. So Fredbear kinda acts like Springtrap, with him being baited by alarms. If you leave him alone, he will deactivate the power, which, obviously, you play these games before, you die. So he's pretty much high priority. You need to bait him into your office, so get into the party room by making some really shit tweet. Just make a shit take on Twitter and that'll probably bait him enough. So get into party room 2, ring your office alarm and he'll stand there for a second, then fuck off back to the stage. He will be off momentarily before starting the cycle over again. Spring Bonnie doesn't need to be seen on the cameras, he will just casually wander around and end up in your office. So to deal with him, you need to stay dead still, treating them as if they're the T-Rex from Jurassic Park. They'll eventually walk back to the stage and if they're, dealt with successfully. So now we are taken out of Night 1 and we're now put back in the point and click section. We're now at the house from Final Nights 2. Cool little throwback. You go to the shed in the back to bypass the gate. How the hell did Foxy get all the way down here? I have no idea. Freddy will kick down the door and drag you in despite him not having hands, and you need to use this hand crank, which I'm guessing destroys something within Bonnie. It's also a quick time event with Chica in pursuit. Once destroyed, you need to hide from Chica, then you head upstairs to deal with Freddy in this little mini game. So what you need to do is shine the light on Chica, pull this thing out of Freddy, and whenever he's ready. Then Chica will come in to investigate, then you use the crank on her. It's a pretty short bit, and then you take all of the characters out and burn them. Then we move on to Night 2. This night introduces the puppet, which will move around the establishment, and you need to keep a close eye on him, because he's kinda like Foxy. If you don't pay attention, he will instantly kill you. Other than that, Night 2 is pretty simple. So the point and click after Night 2 sees us back in the restaurant, and we explored a little, only to be greeted by a withered version of Fredbear, who is possessed, and decides to ask us some questions. Despite the fact you are dead, you can't ask shit, buddy. I don't really know what these answers meant to the story, so I just picked some random ones and see what would happen. That's all there is for this section. Let's move on to Night 3. Night 3 introduces us to Proto Spring Bonnie, a prototype version of the Spring Bonnie character. He'll move around the restaurant and raise a toxicity meter. Wow, this place really is Twitter. Mate, it's Twitter HQ. Where the fuck is Elon Musk in all this shit? Which, when completely full, obviously you die. For all the amount of shit takes you probably fucking posted. And yeah, it's pretty simple. Whenever he moves to a different location, you need to use this green button, which you've probably seen when playing for the first 2 nights, which will make him move around. He will actually end up in your office at some point, but don't really worry too much about that because he won't kill you. He'll just go in the vent and then go away for a little while. And that pretty much wraps it up for Night 3. The next point and click now sees us at the hospital from the 3rd game. Now, we solve some puzzles, avoid the Reaper puppet, to reach this room with Reaper Toy Chica. Now, some of them have gotten actually a bit of a redesign, so they look more on par with the other Reaper ones. I definitely prefer these designs over the older ones. It's a pretty simple little minigame. You just need to flash her before she can kill you. Then she'll have 3 copies of herself, so obviously quick reaction timing. After that, you have a challenge similar to the one with Freddy and Chica, but with Reaper BB and Mangle, and Puppet is here too. You need to flash both Mangle and BB and keep the lights out for Puppet, and also flash this Fredbear plushie. Beating it, you burn the plushie, and it's on to Night 4. The last character introduced being Proto Fredbear. Now, he will approach from the overhead ceiling vent. You probably noticed this already, but he will approach, and you need to shut the vent door. But you can't do it too early because he'll drop himself on the vent, which kills you. So you need to close it at the right moment. Unlike Bonnie for Final Nights 2, you don't need some Sonic Unleashed perfect timing. It's simply 3 stages. Close it when he's on the last and final stage. Now, that isn't the only thing he can do, however. He will go to your office, and you can't use your cameras when he's at your office. So just when he's there, just stare at him for a little bit, and then he'll go away. And then, you know, obviously rinse and repeat. Night 4 wraps up, and we are back in the point and click sections. Now this one's really short because we just need to answer another question for Withered Fredbear, and yeah, that's pretty much it. On to Night 5. Now in Final Night's tradition, it is a Shadow Night, so all animatronics are now gone and you have to deal with whatever's going on now. And this one's pretty easy. You just go around on the cameras and look for any weird anomalies, then ring the alarm to stop it. If it's in your office, then ring your office alarm. Pretty simple. Now, beating the night actually gets us another point and click section, but you play as Henry, the protagonist for the FNAF-centric part of the game. You simply need to escape and shut your eyes when a shadow is within the same room as you. You get close to the end, but you are captured and Henry dies in the Fredbear suit, which explains why Fredbear is talking to you for some reason. So if you got the good ending, which I somehow managed to get, you then head into Fazbear's Fright and you just basically burn it all to the ground. Our character, Max, dies, I guess. I am assuming he's dead because he's trapped in a burning building and, you know, you can't exactly survive a burning building. And yeah, that ends Final Nights 4. Obviously, you know, you have an extras menu, pretty insightful about the settings and models. It's kind of interesting if you're, you know, into that kind of stuff. I think it's pretty interesting. I think it deserves a lot more attention, you know. And yeah, that's pretty much it for Final Nights 4. Alright, so, Final Nights 4. It's easily my favorite in this series. Cameras are useful, all characters do something unique, and it's overall just a really fun FNAF game. The point and click stuff are a nice change of pace, but don't get in your face all the time. Minigames themselves, you know, like the one in, you know, for the Final Nights 2 one or Final Nights 3, I don't really like them that much. Obviously they're not the meat and cheese of the game, so it's no biggie really. I don't like the Shadow Night either. I think it just would have been better as like the penultimate night where everyone is super aggressive and it's honestly the actual Shadow Night itself is just piss easy if I'm being honest. I think it would need to be reworked and maybe as some secret night like a Night 6 or something. Other than that, it's a very solid game in my opinion. So for the actual series as a whole, honestly I'm not that fond of it, and it's honestly just because of FNAF 4, which, in case for the newcomers to the channel out there who have made it to the end of this video, hi. FNAF 4 is, to me, just Five Nights at Freddy's, but without the cameras, making it a lot more dull. It's kind of like removing speed from a Sonic game. Yeah, just not my kind of thing. Models are really cool, visuals are very obviously pleasing, considering this was made in Unreal 4, I think. Like I said, the story is kind of just a retelling of the FNAF story, and I'm not really into it myself, but I know some of you lore fanatics may like this story a little bit anyway, considering it isn't batshit insane confusing, and I don't think I'm going to be making theories about children being robots about this story anytime soon. Honestly, if you were going to ask me which one you should play, I just recommend the 4th game and just leave it at that. If you don't exactly care about story bits and all that, of course, then you could go for the other ones if you really want to. Other than that, however, that is all the time I have for today, so if you're new, please consider subscribing. It helps out a lot for this channel. We're edging our way to 10k, so I'd be happy as a pig in shit if you could subscribe. Like the video if you enjoyed it. That's like none of you. And click the notification bell, and I also have some socials. I have a Twitter account, so you can follow that if you want. Yeah, I'm not paying $8 for a fucking check mark. I'd rather waste my money on something else like Sonic Frontiers, which, since, you know, I'm recording this, you know, after I played it, it's pretty good. You can join my Discord server, I guess, which, yeah, I don't really like it very much. It kind of sucks, but, you know, it's there in case you want it. Now, before I decide to wrap everything up, there's some stuff I want to quickly talk about. And, you know, obviously, most people already know that, yes, I am planning to make a video on Bendy the Dark Revival, and as of the release date of this video, which is, I don't know, whenever it releases, That is coming out literally next week, I believe. I think next Tuesday. So this is going to be the last fan game video I do for just a little bit. I'm going to focus primarily on making that bendy video and getting it out as soon as possible. I probably want to at least wait a week for maybe the game to release, so you know we can have all the stuff settle in, obviously. So it will probably release the week after Bendy and the Dark Revival drops. So you know, be prepared for that, I guess. Now, before I wrap things up, obviously, I'm going to announce, yes, another announcement. Yeah, I know, but this isn't, like, anything, you know, cool, I guess. But, yeah, I've been thinking long and hard about it, but I want to do something extra for the 10K special video, and I'm going to do a Q&A, I guess. Just a nice little Q&A bonus video, you know, just for 10K subscribers, because, yeah, I did do one in the past for 1K, so I think it would be kind of fun for a round 2 for some of the newer viewers out there. So when I hit 10K, you know, release a community post and you can submit questions there. You'll know when to do it. Okay, that I believe is everything I wanted to talk about right now. I wanted to, you know, so yeah, let's wrap everything up finally. Thank you everybody so much for watching. Have a good one, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.